The New Testament says that Peter, his real name, was Simon Shimon Bar Yonah, Simon son of Jonah. Very unusual name. By first century Jerusalem, almost nobody was called Jonah. The Catholic Church venerates Peter as the first pope. The Vatican is built over, St. Peter's Basilica is built over the place that he's supposed to be buried. Peter is his nickname. It's Greek, Latin, Petros. Petros means rock. He was called Cephas, in Aramaic. Jesus says, "You are my rock." It's a nickname, like Rocky. His name is not Rocky. His name is Simon, son of Jonah. But Jesus calls him, "You're my rock. You're Rocky." It translated, and it becomes Peter. But in the New Testament, it tells us what his real name was. It's Simon, son of Jonah. Well, they've been digging under St. Peter's Basilica for a very long time to find some evidence, credible evidence, that Peter is actually buried there. They haven't found. They found a monument dating from the 3rd century or something like that. No grave. They found a pagan cemetery. No grave. In Jerusalem, a Franciscan archaeologist, the late Bellarmino Bagatti, found on the Mount of Olives what he called a Judeo-Christian cemetery, a cemetery of the early followers of Jesus. And guess what? There's a bone box he found, and it has Peter's name on it, Simon, son of Jonah, the only ossuary found ever with this name on it. Did it make front page news? Did people flock from everywhere and venerate? Was it moved to the vat? No, it was buried in the back of a church in a warehouse. Why? It doesn't fit our expectations. If you want to find this bone box in Rome and you find it in Jerusalem, wait a minute, it couldn't be that guy. It has to be somebody else. Maybe they moved his bones. Maybe he wanted to be buried in his homeland. He was from Israel after all. Nobody even speculates. Just the ossuary, nobody knows where the bones are. It's not a holy relic. Just disappeared. Just a fragment, piece of the ossuary, but the whole inscription has been found. So what you find is that these early followers of Jesus, this kind of the Jesus movement, what scholars call the Jesus movement, their archaeology has been ignored. So as long as you ignore the entire archaeology, you ignore Simon of Cyrene, you ignore Simon, son of Jonah, you ignore it all, then every time something comes up, say, oh, it couldn't be. But then when you start looking, what you see is a pattern. There's lots of stuff has been found, and it's literally sitting in warehouses. It's like Indiana Jones, and it's like sitting in warehouses and nobody's paying any attention. Warehouses and warehouses of stuff that's been cataloged and ignored. So, I've been privileged enough to be able to actually to go to these warehouses and just ask simple layman questions. Why isn't the Simon, son of Jonah ossuary significant? If it was found in the Vatican, it would be venerated by millions of Christians. But it's found in Jerusalem and it's totally ignored and nobody knows it exists, or hardly anybody. So that's been my task throughout this endeavor. Just ask the questions. I don't have the answers, just ask the right questions.